Welcome to episode 44 of Norse Myths, Legends, and Folktales. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we hear Scandanavian telling concerning the ending of all things, the doom of gods and men, in the dusk of the gods. There was Vala, who sang of the end of all things, of the doom of gods and men, of the last dread battle and Odin's death, and of the coming of Surtur, whose flames shall consume the world. In mid-air she sang, and at high noon Odin, sitting in his throne of gold, was silent and listening. He understood, for from the beginning he had foreknowledge of the end. Yet was he not afraid. He awaited Ragnarok, the dusk of the gods. As in youth he had waited, and now he was grown old. It was thus that Vala sang. The age of evil hath come upon earth, the knife age, the axe age, and the age of cloven shields. The violent fall upon the peaceful, brothers slay brothers, and the children of sisters are shedding one another's blood. Great luxuries do men seek, and sensual sins prevails. The world is doomed, yet it is hard and cruel and full of sin, that rest in Vala's heavy streams doth Erd behold wading confusedly perjurers and murderers and evil doers without number. Follows the age of northern winds. Sword blasts are cleaving the darkened skies. Fierce beasts from forest and mountains and barren wilds seek their prey among men. None spares his neighbor, nor lifts a hand to save. Fimbul winter now come. Heavy snows are driven and fall from the world's four corners. The murder frost prevails. The sun is darkened at noon. It sheds no gladness. Devouring tempests bellows and never end. In vain do men await the coming of summer. Thrice winter follows winter over a world which is snow-smitten, frost-fettered, and chained in ice. Yet wars are waged, blood is shed, and evil grows greater. Suddenly, Goldcomb crows loud in Asgard. From Hela's depths the red firecock makes answers. On a hilltop in Yondvid or Ironwood, the storm eagles flap heavily its wings, and tempests bellow over oceans and land. The giants have gathered to assail Asgard. To Bifrost they hasten. At the north end are frost giants and mountain giants. At the south end are the dread sons of Suttung. Heimdall beholds them. In his hands is the Jarlenhorn, which has long been hidden in the deepest shade of Yggdrasil. And from it he blows a thunder blast, which awakens the 9 worlds. Mimir's 7 sons start from sleep in Hala's golden hall, and arm themselves for conflict. Odin talks with Mimir's head. He divines the end of all things, and unafraid, he plans his battle array in the last conflict. With clamor and speed, the giants ascend Bifrost, and the sublime bridge breaks with the weight of riders. Whereat Yggdrasil quakes, the old ash, deep-rooted and strong-rooted, trembles, standing so that the worlds are shaken and the bonds of fettered giants are broken. Loud barks Garum on the rocky isle of the Gulf of the Black Grief, for the wolf Fenrir escapes, and Loki is set free. Snapped are the cords that bind Naglfar, the great ship of death. It breaks loose. The gods are unafraid. They sit in council in their high thingstead, but Njord leaves Asgard and returns to the wise Vans, for the war is waged against the Asa gods, and Suttung seeks to be avenged upon Odin. The elves tremble, and the dwarves shudder in dim discovered caverns. They hide behind their rocky walls. In Jotunheim there is loud bellowing, and defiance and terror spreads among men in Midgard. White fear passes over Hela, for uncertain conflict is at hand. The sons of Mimir guard the gate. Their long swords are in their hands. In gloomy ironwood, the ice-cold heart of Angrboda is made glad. Gymir sits upon a mound alone, playing a harp. He is merry because of what is at hand. Long hath he awaited the hour of doom. To him comes Fjalar Suttung, creator of illusions. In the guise of Hala's red cock, he seeks the sword of victory, which Gymir hath guarded, the sword which Thiazi Volund forged with spells to wreak vengeance upon the gods, which Mimir captured and Svida found, the sword which Frey should wield in the last battle, but he gave it to Angrboda for love of Gerd. To Fjalar Suttung is the sword of victory given up, and he hastens to Surtur. Now from the east in drives Hrym, a buckler covers him, and his hordes follow. The Midgard serpent is shaken with giant rage, for its hour hath come. It writhes and wallows on ocean's slimy floor, so that billows are raised and driven over Midgard's high as the mountains. It rears its shaggy head out of the sea, venom spotted in its body, and fire fumes it sends forth. In ironwood the storm eagle rises with beating wings. It snaps its sharp beak. It hungers for dead men's flesh. The ship of death is sailing over the sea. On board are the sons of Muspel, who were bound, the stricken Jotuns, freed from bonds, Garum the watchdog, and the unfettered wolf Fenrir. Monsters gaunt and grim are in the ship, and Hala is there also. Loki is the pilot and holds the rudder. To ironwood he steers over it his host. He shall lead to the plain of Vigrid. From the south comes black Surtur. In his hand flames the sword of victory, which he hath received from Suttung. Seething fire gleams from the sun-bright blade, and his bleak avengers follow him. Mountains are shaken and rocks tremble. The giant maids are stricken with fear. Mortals in Midgard are strewn in death, and their shades crowd the path to Hala. Heaven yawns, it is rent in twain, because that Surtur issues forth. On the plains of Vigrid is the last battle fought. 100 miles it stretches in length, and 100 miles in width, enclosing the wood of Vida, the silent, where Odin is doomed to die. The host of evil come against the host of Asgard. Frey leads the heroes of Valhall in the fray. He goes against black Surtur, unarmed and without fear, and by the sword of victory he is slain. Against strong Tyr leaps Garum, the fierce wolf-dog, and in dread conflict they engage, and one by the other is wounded, so that both fall dead. Loki battles with Heimdall, but against the shining hero the evil one cannot prevail. Terrible is Loki's aspect after long torture, for his beard and hair have grown like horns. With his bright sword the watchman of Bifrost takes his head, but even after death is the evil one avenged, for his head strikes the body of Heimdall, who is grievously wounded thereby and brought to life's end. There is no longer fear in Hala. The sons of Mimir rejoice because that Loki is dead. Thor is engaged in fierce combat with the Midgard serpent. Long is the strife and uncertain. The serpent is coiled and uncoiled. It writhes before Thor. It avoids his hammer blows, and over him it pours floods of venom. Terrible is the wrath of the thunder god, and the fain would he smite his enemy, dreading that he will be overcome. But at length he prevails. Thunder bellows loud, and Mjolnir flashes fire as Thor smites the death blow, and the monster is stretched dying upon the plain. Great renown indeed hath the god of thunder gained, yet pays he his life's cost for the victory. With its last fierce breath, the serpent sends forth suffocating venom fumes, and Thor staggers back 9 paces. Then, with a thunder groan, the victor falls dead. How fares Odin in this dread hour? He combats with the ravenous wolf Fenrir, the avenging monster which broke free from its bonds. From earth to heaven its jaws gape. Fiery flames dart from its nostrils, and from its eyes Odin fights with his spear Gungnir, and violent are his blows. He rides on Sleipnir, on his head gleams his helmet of gold. His blue robe streams behind him. Fearless is Odin and proud, and his form is stately in this hour of doom. Naught can avail him in the great combat. He is stricken down in his splendor, and by the wolf he is devoured. Yet short-lived is the triumph of Fenrir. Strong Vidar, the silent, advances speedily to avenge his sire's death. His iron-shod foot is stamped on the monster's underjaw. He struggles fiercely with the terrible wolf, for he is stronger and must prevail. In the end, he tears asunder the great jaws and plunges his spear in Fenrir's heart through the throat of fire. Thus, Odin is avenged. How fares the Asa host when Odin and Thor fall, and Tyr and Frey lie dead? The heroes of Valhall are scattered. Hordes of giants are killed, and the field is wet with blood. The black dragon, Nidhogg, is soaring through the air with rustling wings. He flies towards the plain of battle and swallows the bodies of the dead. Surtur alone prevails. In heaven there is disaster. Closer and closer hath the giant wolf Skoll crept towards the sun, and now he swallows it. By Hatamana Karam is the moon devoured. So is the sun darkened at high noon. The heavens and the earth are turned red with blood. The seats of the mighty gods drip gore. So is the moon lost in blackness, while the stars vanish from the skies. Now Surtur completes creation's doom. He casts his firebrands against the scattered Asa host, and those who remain are burned up, save Vala and Vidar, sons of Odin, and Maudi and Magni, sons of Thor. Midgard is swept by flame. The smoke curls round mountain tops. All things are burned up. Nothing with life remains. Asgard is scorched, and fire envelops the withering trunk of Yggdrasil. Even Nidhogg is destroyed in its flight. Earth, smoldering and black, sinks into ocean. The billows cover it. Now there is naught but thick blackness and silence unbroken. The end hath come. Ragnarok, the dusk of the gods. Silent was then the voice of Vala in mid-air and at high noon. Odin sat in his throne of gold, listening through the stillness, unafraid, waiting for Ragnarok and his own doom. Waited he also for the song's end and the promise of time's new morning, when evil would cease to be and Baldur would come back. The skylark soars till its songs fall weakly. At morn is its singing fresh and sweet. Sweet too and fresh was the songs of Vala when Odin heard, sitting in his throne, his voice falling through the stiffness, afar off but clear. In Hala's realms there is sure defence. None goeth thither to conquer, and the long swords are unstained with blood. The fire hath reached not the underworld. Mimir's 7 sons, who have awakened, sleep not again. The roots of Yggdrasil are watered once more from Mimir's well. Fire has destroyed not the tree, save those branches which had withered. It grows green again. The world's new age hath dawned. The sun is bright in heaven, for Baldur hath returned. Earth rises a second time from the deep sea. It rises clad with green verdure. The sound of falling waters fill the morning air. High soars the eagle. From the mountain ridge he espies the fish. Asgard is again made fair. The young gods arrive. Baldur is there, and Hodur his brother. Val and Vidar are also there, and Mod and Magni, who bear with them Mjolnir, the hammer of Thor. Hanir, who reads the future, is in their midst. He is able to choose his part. Of the evils and perils of past time do the gods converse. Midgard's serpent they call to mind, and the wolf Fenrir. They forget not the judgments of the gods and the antique mysteries. They remember the sacred runes of mighty Odin. On the grass they find the tablets of gold, with which is the golden age was played, the game of the gods. So did the Asa clan find them on Time's fair morning, ere yet at the Hag was Asgard corrupted. The world is decked in beauty. Fields yield produce without being sown. Evil is ended, and every ill hath ceased. Baldur hath indeed returned, and with Hodur he dwells in the holy halls of Odin. The sons of the 2 brothers are in the vast abode of the winds, the free hall of the cloud drift. In the sun chariot is Sol's daughter, who is more beautiful than was Sol, and she drives in brightness over heaven of blue. Leifthasir and Leif and their descendants, who are the regenerating race, have come from Mimir's realm to inhabit Midgard. Pure are they without stain. Honeydew is their food in Time's new morning. Their children shall overspread the earth. The new race shall dwell when life ends in their hall, which is called Gimli. Brighter it shines than the sun, and its roof is of gold, and it stands in high heaven. There indeed shall the holy ones dwell in peace and eternal joy for evermore. Northward on Nida Mountain is a golden hall. The sons of Mimir and Sindra's race have dwelling within it. In heaven there is also the hall of Brimir, where mead drinkers sit around the board amidst plenty and in peace. The evil ones, who have fallen from their high state, dwell in Nostrud. A vast hall it is, and of great height. Its doors are open to the north. With serpents was it built. They are intertwined so that their backs are outward and their heads are within. Venom drips from their jaws. It burns the sinners on the benches beneath. They wade through the venom floods in the hall. Odin returns not again, nor Heimdall. Another comes, who is more mighty. Him I dare not name, for he is All-Father. He comes to the great judgment. He utters decrees. He governeth all realms. By him are all things swayed. He settles strife. He makes war to cease. He ordains sacred laws which are inviolable and shall flourish forever. Vala's song was ended, and Odin sat in his golden throne, pondering in silence. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.